Hello, my lovey. Let's get to talking. Does a mental health diagnosis matter? If you have anxious behaviors, can't you just use the strategies for generalized anxiety disorder? Well, it's an interesting question. And I think it depends on the person. I think for some people, it may not matter. For me, getting diagnosed as in my gosh golly, I was over 50 before I was diagnosed with ADHD. And every single person that I've ever told who knows me is just like, well, yeah, no, no lie, Melissa. What makes you think you're not? But it just had never occurred to me. I thought I was a flawed individual, and time management was a challenge. And both things are true. And the reason it's a challenge is because my brain is not wired to approach life in a linear, scheduled manner. I was shocked at the relief I felt when I got my diagnosis. I was really surprised. I just didn't, I don't know why. I mean, I've been diagnosed with other things, mental health wise. And, because there's so much stigma about, mental health diagnosis and the controversies and, oh, what, now every kid's on the spectrum and, or what have you. Those are just knee jerk reactions that people are filtering current living through their past. That is absolutely human nature and really unnecessary because a diagnosis, it can be an important step in self understanding, right? And also, hello, getting the appropriate support to help you manage whatever's going on in between your ears. The value of a diagnosis to me was that I was validated. I was relieved. There was a name, and I was told by a specialist, a psychiatrist, that that's just how I was. That's how I was made. Oh, okay. So it's not a failure of how I respond to the world. That's very nice. I like it. It also gives you understanding of why you have certain thought patterns. I can understand how I think. I can understand the behaviors, the emotions caused by the way that my brain works. And it's just gorgeous. And it levels the playing field and it lets you understand more about the why. It's not necessarily trauma. If you have ADHD, your brain is just not going to roll along, happily and linearly and all the things that I was jealous of other people and I didn't understand how did they have it so together. And it wasn't that I'm not together. It's just that I manage time and things and tasks in a different way. ADHD is my superpower. The depressive, well, major depression is really, that's a tough one, but it's also manageable. Everything can be managed, treated, supported. We get to look for the tools that will help us, that resonate with us. It's not a one size fits all thing. It's just like, are you going to build a bridge or are you going to put in a ferry? They're just two different ways to get across the same water. And if you suspect that you have something that is diagnosable, do some research. Just get curious about it, find out more. What are the symptoms? What are the causes? What are some common treatments? Do any of those treatments resonate with you? I never would have thought of myself as a meditator because I literally cannot sit still. And yet, with practice, it is a beautiful addition to my arsenal of tools in managing my mental health. It's amazing how good we can become at things that we're seemingly not aligned to and how much good they can do for us. Really, that's the goodness. And there's also like a lot of online assessments that you can do a self-assessment, not as a diagnosis tool, but just as a learning about yourself kind of a tool, like sort of taking a Myers-Briggs personality test or doing human design or, all the different ways of classifying people and learning about who you are. These are all tools available for free on the interwebs. And of course, there's also professional help. That can look like any number of mental health professionals can help you. That can look like therapy. It can be psychiatric. There could be a medicine component, or it could be learning strategies of how to calm yourself down or lighten your load, or, whatever it is that you're trying to help yourself do. There are people, it's their job to help you do just exactly that. And also, I recognize that I'm out there more than most people because I think it's important that we talk about it and normalize it. But when you talk about what you're dealing with other people and you share your observations and your concerns with a professional, honestly, well, that's the good stuff. That's more self-knowledge. That's more keeping you able to improve and manage. And so don't think of it as I want to remove anxiety from the world or I want to remove depression from my world. Think of it as I want to manage. I want to manage it. I want to be in charge and find the tools that let you do that. And that's where you get curious. You find out what's worked for other people. Are there any people who are, whether they are doing a podcast like this one, or they're writing books, or, how are they sharing? Is it a blog? Is there a weekly email person or a daily something that will help you navigate this and engage with that wholeheartedly? Open yourself up to it. The wisdom's out there. Everything is out there. All the claptrap, the wisdom, the dishonesty, the truth is all out there. And we get to wade right on in and look around to find something that will help us. And keep in mind too, even with a diagnosis, it's not a label. Like, I am not an ADHD human. I'm a human. That's an aspect of who I am. I suffer from depression. I am not depressed. Does that make sense? To distinguish that we have these qualities and yet they do not define us, right? Like even calling yourself a survivor, that still puts your life through the lens of victimhood, as opposed to you're a person with a past, with things that have happened, things that you've done, things that you did when you didn't understand yourself. I mean, there's some humble pie. I dine on that frequently. And I get to forgive myself for it. Because honestly, I was doing the best I could, boiling from the inside out with a whole lot of wiring situations in my brain, as well as just garbage experiences that taught me that the world was not a safe place. And if I can get through it, trust me, there is hope. And so remember, that is the last thing out of Pandora's box in the myth, that hope. And that's what keeps us going. It is a positive force. It is not a negative. To be hopeful, to be optimistic, to understand that things are going to work out and I don't need to know why. That's all gorgeous because it is going to work out. And worst case scenario, it doesn't work out and you're gone anyway. Like truly, there is some amazing gravitas to the idea that it's either going to work out or it's not going to be your problem. And you will get through it. And you've gone through craptastic things before. And managing your mental health, advocating for what you need, identifying it, and advocating even to yourself so that, like, yes, I am going to go look this up. Holla, that's the juice. That's the really good stuff. Like, yeah, the tools are out there for me. I'm going to go get them. I'm going to join a community. I'm going to get support. I'm going to practice and flex those muscles so that I can move forward. So just some thoughts for you to think about and consider. Please, please, please do me a favor and rate, subscribe to this podcast. Pretty please. And also share it. If you're listening to one that resonates and makes you think of someone, shoot it on over to them. maybe I can help another person. Hugs, hugs, hugs.